Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
We are so excited to be able to bring back to you CGL Friday Night Overwatch as we step into the NAGM tier. Hello everyone, my name is Sam Tonks. I'm going to be your desk host for tonight. Now listen there, I said desk. That means that I am being joined here by some amazingly talented individuals, starting off with Two Tryhard Ray, Chef Billy, and Headrammer. You know them, you love them, but I still want to get some introductions out of the way, starting with you, Ray.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm sure you guys have seen my face. Been grinding these last couple seasons in CGL as a caster, you know, whether I was with Tiny or Joker or Sam. Color caster for Overwatch, been casting for about, man, it's like 3 years now. It's insane, but I'm just excited to be representing this CGL community in this capacity. I'm excited to be joining here and revitalizing this Friday night Overwatch desk.
And I know that we're all so very thankful to have it be revitalized. And of course, the great and spectacular Headrammer. Tell us all about yourself, my friend.
I don't know about those quite words, but I'll take it. Yeah, so I'm Headrammer. You probably primarily see me being the one who's pinging you announcements or answering your questions when you don't read my roles. But no, I'm one of the owners of CGL and the Overwatch lead for running these events. You'll primarily see me more a little behind the scenes than behind the camera, but for Friday Night Overwatch, I'm here to be on the analyst desk.
And we're very glad to have you here on the analyst desk, so thank you for coming to join us, Headrammer. And certainly, last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Chef Billy. And Billy, I know that you have something that you want to share with all of us.
I mean, look, you guys know who I am. I started here back in 2018, if you can remember back that far, Alex. Headrammer took a chance on a very, very spicy tier 1 player that wanted to see our games get cast just like the big boys. And they said, well, if you want to do it, find somebody to cast with you and find somebody that will do this with you. So it started out with, I believe, oh gosh, who was it? Well, Ocean cast with me a couple of times. We also had Sultan, Pickles, a couple of old names there, and had a lot of fun back then. But you know what? This is now 7 seasons that we are here with the MTT. This is number 13, lucky 13, and it has been a journey. We almost saw CGL go away for a while because of just the DOSing incidents that happened way back in the day. Console watch wars happened. We all know about it, but we came together as a community, and you guys have really stepped up. And I tell you what, I'm so damn glad to be back. We are so back, baby. And we are bringing back one of the best things that we ever had was Friday Night Overwatch. And we're going to be talking about teams. We're going to be talking about stories. We're going to be talking about the players and how we got here. And now we've got PC with us here as well. So we get to see some of the best PC talent out there as well. You might even see some OWCS representation here. So Sam, I tell you what, we are so back. We are ready for this. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. I could not agree more. Billy, you got me all fired up now. I'm ready to just take this desk in all 20 different directions now. But I think we do need to talk about the actual season itself. For anyone who's just joining us and may not know exactly what's going on, Headrammer, I feel like, you're the one in charge of everything. Give us the whole rundown of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that aren't familiar, our seasons are usually divided into 2 4-week stages. So teams battle it out over those 4 weeks to try to, make the midseason tournament. So teams that win the midseason tournament, or even just qualify in general, get bonus points to the regular season record going into the playoffs. And now, again, it's only an 8-week regular season, so all those extra bonus points you get matter quite a lot. So your performance throughout the entire season is incredibly important. And it qualifies you for the playoffs, of which we have a multi-week playoffs going to a grand final stage. And, teams got 1 game per week. The tournament is divided into multiple regions as well as multiple divisions based on players' rank. So there's places for everyone to play, a lot of competition going on, and I'm really excited to see how these teams play out.
Exactly. I know we're all very excited, and that's one of the great things about bringing back Friday Night Overwatch. That's one of the great things about having a desk, is being able to talk about the amazing teams. And like Billy was saying, being able to set up these storylines that we'll be able to follow throughout the entire season. Now, we talked about teams. I said the word teams. We got to know who we're watching tonight, right? That's the whole reason that we're all out here. And boy, do we have a fantastic evening ahead of us once again for this NAGM tier in week 2. This is going to be IUPUI, a lot of letters there, Classy's Kittens versus Mythos Gamera. Now, Ray, right? These two teams, we've seen them in week 1, both able to take a win for themselves. How are we feeling about them?
I think both these teams, they're feeling very good, 1-0. So especially coming into what is degree equalizer, we'll go into this later, the new patch, it's going to throw a wrench in a lot of teams. I was kind of talking to a bunch of people beforehand. I talked about how I feel with the meta not being so defined. Everyone's still trying to figure out. You have a chance these first couple weeks to get some wins under your feet, almost being like the London Spitfire, like know your team's identity and play what works for you and play it well. And I guarantee you can get a lot of wins coming into this week. I feel like that's based on what we've heard from these teams. That's exactly what both of them are going to be doing.
And that's what we're going to be hoping for. Billy, I see some head shaking going on there, so I want to get some of your opinions on what we're feeling.
No, I'm totally in agreement with Ray there. What I'm seeing right now in my ranked games, and we're not going to talk about where I'm playing right now, because I'm playing on PC. I'm not playing on console anymore. These old hands, they just don't work as fast as you youngins do. But I'm seeing a lot of Zen. Zen, with all the passive changes that have come through, the size of your deployables, everything that's going into it, Zen has been extremely strong right now. I'm also looking at Sigma and a lot of Monkey because dive seems to work. Mobility seems to be a key for a lot of these teams to get stuff done. So we're going to see if that continues to be a trend going forward. I'm seeing it a lot in the collegiate ranks. I'm seeing it a lot in what used to be tier 2. Now we're kind of, I don't even know what we're going to call it right now. We're calling it pre-OWCS. I also think that the ability for you to make sure that your positioning is absolutely spot on. That has to be something that is at the top of your list right now, is that your positioning can get punished even more now with this patch, with everything going through. So, I mean, teams, they've had since Tuesday afternoon, and we're here on Friday night. So they've had about 72, 80 hours to get themselves into fighting form. So we'll see how it turns out here in week number 2.
Yeah, I'm glad we're touching on season 9 right now. We're going to get into a little bit more the massive amounts of changes that have happened through this patch. But Headrammer, of course, I want to get your opinions on what we're feeling about Classy's Kittens and Mythos Gamera.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because, like Billy was mentioning, so much has changed in recent times, and some of these teams are playing collegiate with each other, or just coming together for this tournament. Some teams are just more of like a synergistic team. They're a friend group, so the Mythos team is more of a friend group team, and that's something that can really help you going into an event, especially in a chaotic meta where teamwork is becoming more and more important. You can really see where things stand out because you can make your adjustments. Usually in a friend group, you're you're not getting as upset with people as often, or if you are getting upset with people, you're usually much more willing to forgive because you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna still be hanging out with this person after the game's over. I know the IUPUI, I think I'm getting that correct. There's so many letters there. They've mentioned that this is the first time they're kind of being on a team together, and all of them have played on past team experience before, but I think that could be a big difference maker coming up here.
Yeah, I feel like I should also talk about those letters real quick because it is Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, Classy's Kittens. A lot of words. That's the only time you're ever going to hear that from me tonight. So clip it, whatever you want to do with it. But we've talked about the teams themselves. Now it's time to get into the real discussion, the real meat of what we have, and that is going to be the Season 9 changes and how it is going to be. They've only had at most 80 hours to get used to all of the sweeping changes that have come forth since Tuesday.
Yes, I've had a chance these last couple of days to cast different games and talk to players, talk to coaches, and DPS players, specifically Tracer players and hit scan DPS, rejoice because you are thriving so far in this meta. Being able to apply that new DPS passive of 20% less healing to anyone you hit, and then you get the passive heals that everyone has gained. Tracers are like, I can go on a flank and not have to always look for health packs if I get damaged or automatically recall. Like, they are living great. And I think that's one of the biggest things to highlight is DPS players feel great.
Yes, they do. I've been playing a lot of competitive Season 9, and as a hit scan player myself, it's just like everything it feels like a whole brand new world for me, and one that makes me feel good about myself. Billy, are you disappointed in me? Yeah.
I mean, okay, so there's partial disappointment that you're a DPS player. Okay.
I used to be a tank player. I used to be a tank player, to be fair.
See, the point there is used to be. I play tank and I'm feeling miserable right now because it just feels like everybody's against me right now. I mean, it's even worse than what Season 8 was. Tanks are just under such duress. The one shining point for me right now is Ramatra. Has 350 health points right now and can just stand there and take a beating. The Nemesis form is so very important on cooldown. So we're going to see how teams utilize Ramatra. I think Ramatra right now is the tank to play. If you want to revert back to something different, Sigma is also in a great place right now with the counter measures, the mitigation, the CC that you have with the accretion. Those are the two tanks that I'm zeroing in on. I'll let our support person over there talk about the support roles because I just don't play it. And Alex does a much better job of explaining support than I do.
Yeah, so Headremmer, I mean, supports, they're in kind of this weird position right now having to deal with this massive new DPS passive that they that obviously reduces the amount of healing that they're able to output here. Supports, what are we feeling?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It definitely takes getting used to. Similar to how tank kind of really feels the impact of the DPS passive. You really feel it on support too. I know these last few days playing support. I'll be playing a stack of a tank main, and times in which I would, in the past, be able to easily carry them through how much damage they're taking. No matter how much healing I put into them, they will still be able to burn through it quite noticeably, especially if you're playing against Zenyatta. Zen is really strong currently, combining both the Discord with the DPS passive on top of each other, and tanks can really melt, especially because Zen is also a little bit more survivable because of the increased health he has. Now he's a little bit... The active flankers having a little more health now too is useful for them, but Zen is in a really strong place right now. Ana's still pretty good, but I think it does feel like Break feels a little bit weaker. And I've been hearing some rumors around about some Lucio Zen going around. I don't know. I haven't really seen a whole lot myself yet, but I heard some people talking about it recently, and I'm not sure.
We actually saw a little bit of it coming out from one of the collegiate teams the other night. They were playing Wrecking Ball compositions with Lucio Zen, so that's kind of where that support line is coming into the fray.
All I have to add as a armchair Zenyatta enjoyer is that Zen got the best buff with his snap kick being put into the kill feed now, so it just adds that extra layer of mental warfare against the person that you killed. So we've talked about the Season 9 changes, but we need to talk about the players themselves and how they are going to adapt to the ever-shifting meta that we are in. And I guess we can go ahead and start off with IUPUI Classy's Kittens. This one obviously filled with a lot of pedigree here, a lot of players that should seem recognizable, with Meek, Swanky Sloth, Classy Crew, Reaper 608, and I Donut. Billy, what's standing out to you here?
I mean, just looking at their team sheet, because I haven't had a chance to actually look at them, in game so far. I mean, looking at how they want to set their game up. I mean, it looks like Disruption is going to be the name of the game. I mean, they've got Wrecking Ball and Winston as their most played and their favorite hero there for a Classy Crew in the tank department. So I think that mobility is going to be key for this IUPUI team to get a good result here. Also looking at their map choices, where they like to go. These are places where you can actually run a lot of high to low ground. You're not really worried about mitigation of damage coming in. You're more worried about divide, conquer, get disruptive, find somebody caught out of position. This is where it's going to come out once again, Sam, is the fact that, mobility plus the ability to take and kind of isolate somebody. That's what they're looking to do with this IUPUI team. So I want to see how they do this. I want to see how they are able to accomplish this, because Mythos Gamera, I mean, they look pretty strong on paper.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's on paper. Is that going to translate to paper? Because we thought that same thing on the EU desk, but we were proven wrong. So let's go ahead and pull up Mythos Gamera. Once again, names that should be fairly recognizable, especially if you've been a part of CGL for a very long time. Headrammer, right? These names, feeling anything?
Oh, definitely. I know we got a few members returning from CGL. I know Water, longtime CGL member, has actually won CGL in the past playing support, so that's now on DPS. It's always interesting to see as players kind of swap between platforms if they keep the same role as not. It seems like Water has elected to actually take on a little bit of that DPS role.
And Ray, what do you? Any opinions to add on to this?
Yeah, I mean, this whole team I've recognized, cast them a lot. They've been one of those mainstay teams in the GM tier. I mean, they mentioned that they did very well in the GOATS tournament. Lore, just that name rings in my head from past casts. Lore is definitely one of those DPS players to watch out for. And Funjin on that support, he is a big playmaker.
We are going to be looking. We're going to be looking at all of the plays being made tonight. I know that's something that we're eagerly anticipating. Now, something that we also need to anticipate are, before we get into the game itself proper, our predictions. And I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about predictions right now, but okay. Yep. Billy, we're gonna come. We're gonna come to you, okay, Mister? Because you're the outlier right now. But Ray and Headrammer, both of you for Mythos Gamera are at 3-1. I'm 3-0 Mythos Gamera. Chef Billy, it's 3-1 in favor of IUPUI. So Ray, give the reasoning. 3-1. Why?
Look, for me, again, just having casted this team so recently and just knowing how well they have done in previous tournaments, the synergy is there coming into new patch. I feel that's going to be very important, as Headrammer mentioned earlier. IUPUI, they have, kind of played together on some other teams, but this is the first time they're all coming together on one single team. So I think there might be a few kinks to work out here and there, but they're still a talented team. That's why I gave them a map.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. You're still feeling like that acquiescence is there. Headrammer, you're in the same boat though. 3-1 as well. Is it kind of the same line of thought as Ray?
I would say generally yes. Is that I think the added synergy from being a core team. I know the core members of the team have played in Tranquility together and ended up second place before, and especially in a chaotic meta, I feel like that is really important. I know also specifically on IUPUI's team sheet, they mentioned they scrim 1 time per week. So that could be an issue going into this new chaotic meta. And I know that I think they've talked about potentially doing some 6-man rush comps and some sim TPs, and I don't really know how well that will work, especially if Mythos ends up coming in with some more DPS spam comps.
We are gonna have to see, and we're also gonna have to see Chef Billy. Billy, you're the only one on this desk right now who's going to be the contrarian, who is going to stand firm in your convictions. Now, it's not going to be an easy win for Classy's Kittens, but you do have them at a 3-1 win.
I do, and I think that mobility is going to be the key. I think that you're either running a Wrecking Ball comp or a Winston comp, if you go in with flankers or proper dive even, you're going to have a good time at it. especially with people not being able to react quickly on these flanks. Being able to pull the eye away from the main fight that's going on, or whatever map mode we're in. I think that the ability to flank and then dissect a team apart, working from back to front, that's what I'm looking at. It's what I'm seeing a lot in the collegiate ranks right now, is that they're working for the back to front. They're taking down a support, and then they're moving in. And so you're looking at these 1v1 duels. You're looking at a Tracer going up against a Zenyatta. You're looking at, the Lucio getting you on top of the team after that happens, and then the rest of the team just being wiped away. So that's what I'm looking at right now. That's what my eye test has been with the limited sample size that I've seen here of Season 9 with the collegiate ranks. I think the collegiate ranks right now, they may say that they only scrim once a week. I bet you they play a lot more than that, though. And I think that, there are some teams, they have their hierarchy listed. There's some players from their very top team that are playing here in the GM tier. So we'll see how this goes down.
Well, Billy, I have a hard time arguing with that. It all sounds like fairly sound logic to me. And honestly, with what you're talking about in this meta, that being mobility, we have been seeing a lot of that. We do know that being able to get in, get your picks and get out, even if you're like talking about just from the tank perspective, right? Tanks are still relatively tough to kill, and a smart tank that knows how to keep themselves alive on top of their supports being able to empower them, you have to, like you said, start from the back and then go to the front. You had to find that very valuable support pick before you're able to do anything. But of course, it always comes down to that risk versus reward. But I think it's now finally time to get into the games themselves. IUPUI, Classies, Kittens versus Mythos Gamera. And we're going to send you over to our casters, Dexatron and Joker's Ransom. Gentlemen, take it away.
Hello, everyone. It is time to get into the games and get started up for Friday Night Overwatch. My name's Joker's Ransom. His name is Dexatron, and we're about ready to start it off here, Dex.
Man, I am ready for tonight's series. We have a great matchup here between Mythos Gamera and IUPUI Classies Kittens here. Both of them coming off week 1 sweeps. One team, though, will leave tonight's series with their first loss of the season.
Yeah, obviously, it's still very early in the season here, Dex, but, obviously, you want to stay above that 500 mark for as long as you possibly can, and getting to that 2-0 would be huge to start things off for your confidence and going forward when we get to that mid-season tournament that will be underway. But we've got somewhere to start off with. And where else to start off with? Bringing back Friday Night Overwatch, bringing back to our roots. We're headed to Lijiang Tower today to start things off.
A great starting map, especially considering the Season 9 patch that just came out. You just heard the entire desk talk about everything that happened with it here. Lijiang Tower, a map you normally see start a lot of series when there is a map pick. This time, though, it is already decided much beforehand. A very lucky map pick here, then, that both these teams will get a chance to probably show us what they necessarily are comfortable with. But the greatest thing about Lijiang Tower, you can play different comps on every point and find value with them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And with, like they were talking about, Ramatra being probably the forefront tank, Sigma there as well, D.Va as well. If you remember our map pool from a second ago, Numbani's going to be an option in our next map. So that's probably, a great tank to have in the meta right now to be able to be used. But what I'm interested to see, Dex, are we going to see the elusive, the non-existent until Season 9, are we going to see some Wrecking Ball played today?
We do know that one of these teams does like to play it here. Potentially, we might see it, maybe not on this point, but again, you could still see on this point a great opportunity to try to knock people off the map here. But instead, I really feel like you're going to see that Sim TP strat come in here, whether it be with the Ramatra, a Sigma, or even with those dive tanks a little bit here. We saw a lot of the dive tanks played in our EU series here, but on this map, it was a lot of Sigma, it was a lot of Ramatra, and right now you see Classic Kittens coming out with that Ramatra. Mythos Gamera, though, A very, very interesting comp. While I imagine it is just bait, it is very interesting to look at right there. But I mean, you look at Classic Kittens here; they're pretty much showing us what they want to run here. It's gonna be a sim TP to comp there. You have the entire kind of comp right there set up to just hold on point. ICU though, it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do here, whether they swap off the sim immediately or they try to stay with it on point. And it looks like they're gonna stick with it here. But look, Joker, you get Dizzy on the ball.
Yeah, and then with Classic Kittens, they're going to be going for the Moira Rush, which is kind of pretty all right at the moment. Obviously, we haven't figured out the game or this season as quickly as, well, because it's only been a couple days, but the roll-through comes through already from Dizzy, as they're going to be going for the pile driver, looking for the separation, looking for Classy Crew already, going to have to go into that Nemesis form to stay alive for the moment. The damage is being done, but right now, I mean, Classy Kittens have all the presence on the point, and they're going to be able to take it through, but a nice roll-through from Dizzy, just going to solidify everything on top for Mythos, as that's going to be a huge play coming in from the Wrecking Ball of Mythos.
And what a way to start the round right there. Yeah, they'll give up that 13% to Classy Kittens. You get a double boop kill right there on the ball. You look at them. They're so close to a minefield compared to Classy, and then Annihilation so far away. A great play there from Mythos. But I'm kind of concerned about their DPS line here. You saw Laura try to get the hack in there as Dizzy came crashing down. They need to be able to land that more consistently in the next couple fights here, because if you don't land those hacks, it's going to be really tough for them to do anything.
Yeah, as they're going to go in, there's the pile driver yet again. The teleport onto the point from Classy Kittens have gotten them set up yet again to get back in control of this point, but they're going to have to deal with the minefields coming out, and Idonut very low. Meek going to be taken out by water on this Tracer. Laura going to be able to figure it out, take down Reaper, and that's going to be yet again the hold coming through from Mythos Gamera.
Yeah, just working as like a charm right now, Gamera is. I mean, you see him get the kills there. Yeah, they invested the minefield there, which was a perfect play. You saw all the utility that Classic Kittens had to use there just to get them out of that situation, put them into an even worse situation here. But now, Classic Kittens coming up on some ultimates here. Mythos Gamera getting over that 50% point right now, but I'm going to be looking for Water Lore to maybe try to get in that backline, find an early pick.
Well, the Transcendence is going to be used early on here, and a lot of people are low on Classy Kittens. The Coalescent has to be used to get into this fight. There's the EMP coming out. Are they going to be able to hold on to this? Picks keep going the way of Classy Kittens, but it's traded out. Water's found 2. The Pulse Bomb's still available, and Dizzy's found Meek as well. This should still be Mythos holding on strong. It's just Reaper left, and, well, they're gone and out, as Water is going to stay alive for the time being.
Yeah, and right now, IUPUI is really running into some problems. They're coming up on 4 ultimates, which is huge for them, but look at Dizzy again. They're able to build to a minefield so fast here that probably in a mid-fight here, they're going to be able to get it going here. This is potentially final fight territory. Pulse Bomb comes out, though. Does stick on to the worst target, however.
Yeah, this Pulse Bomb going to come through, but there's the teleport and the Photon Barrier out and about onto the point. It's going to allow Classy Kittens to set up. They're still going to have to deal with the minefields, and Rocket finds a headshot, taking Reaper down. Blizzard's going to be there, though. It's going to take down Dizzy. It's still an opportunity, but the rally is out as well. There's still chances for both of these two teams to hold on, but with the Annihilation coming through, it seems to be finally enough for Classy Kittens to take the fight that they're looking for, but maybe not. Laura and Rocket are keep finding these picks, but there's still players left on the point for Classy's Kittens. They're going to be able to hold on as Laura tries to get away, found out by the Moira, and going to be taken down in the end, perhaps. Yes, they are.
Eventually there, but you see what that happens. That allows Dizzy to get back here, and now Gamera going to be coming back in incredibly fast here.
Ooh, and a nice pick onto Reaper by Fungin, and a roll through, almost taking down a couple of people on the side of Classy's Kittens there as well. Still, they have the control of the point. They've got to stop really just trickling through before this things gets kind of out of hand for Classy's Kittens holding things down.
And I like Classy swapping over to this Junk Queen right now. Does a much better job with shutting down the ball than Ramatra does here. But again, I'm looking at someone like Icy or Meek to kind of step up their game a little bit here and help their team out. But the EMP lands 4.
Oh, that's a huge EMP. That's going to be almost enough. Coalescence is not going to be enough as the Transcendence comes through in celebration, flipping the point back over to the for Mythos, and that's going to be round number 1, unless there's any late second contest, but that's just not in the cards for this time.
Yeah, and give IUPUI some credit there. They were able to, make this a much more convincing round. But Mythos Gamera, towards the end of that round, they had the ultimates in their favor. But again, it really came down that huge EMP from Lore to seal the deal there. Landed on 4, maybe landed on 5. Reaper potentially might have been able to fade out of that one and just use their coalescence right after that. But you saw what happened after that. Lore was a part of every one of those 5 kills there at the end to seal the deal here. And I mean, Mythos Gamera, they came out here with this ball comp, and it really seemed like it took a while for Classy Kittens to really figure anything out of how to shut it down. And again, I was still hoping to see some swaps from the DPS line. The May from Meek is a good pick. The Symmetra, though, not necessarily the best pick going into the ball there.
Interestingly enough, we're seeing another swap coming in from Mythos Gamera now. They're going over to the Winston for Dizzy here, as well as Lore going over to the Sojourn. See how it works for them as Rocket also bringing up the Ana, but right now Dizzy's just getting a lot of damage onto them as Icy is on, well, the Winston Buster. They're on Reaper right now. That's working well again. They're getting point control, but I don't know for how long, as they're going to try to engage early on. Classy's very low, but going to be able to take down Water. The Carnage is going to come out as well, but still nothing really doing for Mythos, so they're going to have to regroup.
Yeah, and honestly, Icy coming out on this Reaper was perfect. They didn't know Dizzy was going to come out on this Winston here, but it's a perfect counter, and you see what it does to Mythos here again. But and remember, this is how almost the last round started. Classy capping the point first, but Water finding a huge pick.
Yeah, I don't gonna go down. Classy is gonna take him down. Function though, out with the Carnage. Reaper's very low and gonna go down as well. So this is the perfect opening for Mythos Gamera to get into this point, take it back, and Meek falling down as well. Classy Crew's so low, gonna be taken down in the end. This should just be a capture coming the way of Mythos. Run around the 41% for Classy's Kittens.
A good percentage there for Classy Kittens, but they talked about a little bit on the desk beforehand here. DPS now is probably that line you have to fear for. It's not necessarily the tanks anymore. DPS have kind of come into their own in the Season 9 patch here. Tanks are still strong, but the DPS have got a lot stronger. That's why you saw Lore and Water pick up so much value there. Yeah, Dizzy found 3 kills there, but it was off the back of those DPS finding all those kills there. But look at Mythos now. 4 ultimates to really only 1 for Kittens.
Ooh, what a nice shot coming through from Meek, though. Pulse Bomb is out from Water, but again, not going to find anything quite just yet. Primal Rage invested early on. Coalescence is there as well. They're still finding picks, is Mythos Gamera. They are able to find a hold at the moment, but still, people are very low, but they're going to be able to stay alive and damage through it all in the end, keeping strong and overtaking Classy's Kittens.
And one thing I'm really noticing right now is Water is getting into the backline for Classy's Kittens so much here. They found the first pick there on the Reaper, who had just popped their Coalescence, getting rid of a huge ultimate there for Classy Kittens, which would have been able to maybe get them through the midpoint of that fight there. But now, only 2 ultimates ready for Gamera. They are both support ultimates. I'm looking for maybe that Nano come out onto Dizzy here, but if you're Classy's Kittens, you need to go fast, and you need to pop some ultimates.
Yeah, there's the Nano Boost coming on to Dizzy, but there's the Rampage right afterwards, as Dizzy, though, is just going to find all the work necessary, finds the supports out already. That's just going to be enough for Mythos to keep things going. The team kill gong sounds 75% and counting. It's close to last fight territory here, Dex.
Yeah, and that Rampage there from Classy, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword considering how far you go away, and then to just tie a knot on it, you got slept right after it, meaning that their tank was completely out of that fight, and you saw what happened after that domino effect there. And now they're swapping over to the Winston here, probably just to try to get a last touch.
Yeah, they've got to be able to get there in the end. 95%, and Rocket's already found Idona. The Death Blossom, though, finds the supports out of the fight, though. So there still is a chance for Classy's Kittens, but they need to find picks, and they need to find it now. With the Blizzard coming in from Meek, trying to lock down the point. They find out Water. So many people low. There's still a chance, but Dizzy's going lower and lower. Lore finds out Classy Crew, but it looks like they're going to give it up for the moment.
They gave it up at that moment there because Idona used the beat there, and now they're immediately coming right back in as that beat wears off.
Yeah, the overclock coming through from Lore, trying to find a pick onto Meek or, well, anyone else, but there's the pick. Meek goes down first and foremost, and Lore finds another one. That should be it. That's the way the cookie crumbles in the end. Mythos come through strong off the back of Lore and company, taking the fight, taking map number 1 and going up 1-0 in the series.
and Dizzy getting some brownie points there at the end, touching the spawn doors, the Classy Kittens right there. Almost deja vu of what we saw on point 1 over here on point 2. Mythos Gamera able to end the point off with a team kill, playing them up 1-0 in this series. And Dizzy getting play of the game. I mean, yeah, I talked about how much the DPS are now kind of pivotal in winning team fights, but again, Dizzy was just able to do so much on the ball on the first point, and then a lot on the Winston on the second point. Just those bubble placements were so perfect for their team, allowing them to juke and dive in between the bubble to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree with you there. And I mean, it's showing kind of right now that this Mythos team has been around together for a while, I would say. I mean, they're very, very well coordinated at the moment, but still, Classy Kittens could turn it around. They're shown some flashes of brilliance. Again, those early rounds, I mean, they're able to get to this point quickly and lock it down for a good 40%, but they need to be able to do that for longer and get some control in their back pocket, especially as we head into hybrid.
Yeah, especially as we head into hybrid, especially when we're going to the map like Numbani, a very dive kind of heavy map, and we've seen how Classy Kittens has been able to kind of deal with the dive or with the fast play that Mythos Gamera played on both the two maps here. I mean, they were able to win fights, but they weren't able to win them consistently, and that's something I really want to see change for them here. I mean, yeah, you had great counters for Classy Kittens on that last point there. You had Icy on that Reaper, which, I mean, you normally look at that and you look at the other tank of the Winston and say, okay, they're not going to be on that Winston for long if the Reaper's able to find a lot of value, but Icy was just not able to find a lot of value there on the Reaper. Everyone from Mythos Gamera did such a good job of shutting down the Reaper and also shutting down the backline. You saw a lot of the time there. The first people that called out were the supports there for Classy Kittens.
Yeah, so we do have some swaps, though, coming in. Well, only one here for the side of Classy Kittens. We're bringing in Swanky Sloth for Meek on the DPS role here. We'll see if that can be enough to turn the tide into their favor here. But heading into Numbani, like you were talking about, this dive tanks, like we saw from Mythos Gamera, and, well, the rest of their team as well. We saw the Tracer, we saw the Sombra just work so well for this team. It's going to be really difficult for Classy Kittens to come in, and maybe something like a Sigma would help out a little bit with that rock, with the accretion being able to slow down people. And I mean, even going back to the Ram, being able to land those Ravenous Vortexes consistently onto said dive tank when they don't have a movement ability, or when they do, so it's harder to get away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the change I want to see for them here going into Numbani. I mean, we saw that they were able to win fights, but it just seemed like there was always one or two missing pieces to really help them win consistently there. I mean, you saw them in that last team fight they won on that second point. They invested a beat there very late because it was about a 2v2 there. And once that beat came out, you saw Mythos Gamera. They almost had everyone back. They decided to back out, let that beat come and go, and you saw the follow-up right after that. I mean, Mythos Gamera, they noticed that. That was a smart play from here. But if you are Classy Kittens here, I mean, you're bringing in this sub here, and I will mention this. Classy Kittens, they are the only team in this matchup that has subs. They have 3 subs that could come in. We are seeing Swanky Sloth come in here for Meek, who did an okay job, in my opinion, on that first map, but you're bringing in Swanky Sloth here for a reason, whether it's maybe play a little bit more of a hit scan character like an Ashe, a Hanzo. We kind of saw that a lot on the EU side of the game earlier, where Ashe was kind of a strong pick here. But I mean, they're going to be attacking here first. The Sigma, I like the idea. I don't necessarily know, though, if it's going to be a good idea for Classy Kittens here. You're going to see him go for the dive instead with a pharmacy in the back line.
Yeah, so I was thinking that we were possibly going to be seeing the Pharah come out from Swanky Sloth. And I mean, if you don't have the aim that some people have, you can find good value with Pharah. But again, it all brings back to this this hitbox. You know, the hitbox changes coming in. It is a lot, I would say, somewhat easier to get a shot onto a Pharah. They do have those new movement abilities, though, so it's still an opportunity. And with the way, again, their hitbox, or how their damage has been changed because of the hitboxes, it is a lot easier to find good damage. So I'm interested to see how Swanky Sloth can take on Lore here in this battle.
And I like this last second swap here from Classy, going over to the Diva instead. That helps you shut down those shots from Lore, and Water maybe potentially just diving on your backline.
We'll see how it works for them there, as Laura already set up to look for some shots in the sky. The Diva coming in from Classy Crew as well, but the shots coming in already. Laura is not going to be able to find the pick onto Swanky Sloss, as now they have free range of the sky, forcing back all of Mythos Gamera at the moment. Going to be taking Rocket out as well as the cleanup comes through from Classy Crew, and this should be enough for perhaps a first point capture for Classy's Kittens.
It might be enough for a first point cap here, unless Mythos Gamera potentially wants to stagger this a little bit, but it looks like that's what they're going to want to do here.
Yeah, they definitely have a chance to, but they need to find a pick if they want to have any real contest of it. They find Swanky Sloth, but Water's going to go down quickly afterwards, so it's just not going to be enough. The self-destruct comes in as well from Classy Crew, and the point's going to be taken by Classy's Kittens.
And such a big thing happened there at the end. They were able to force the bomb out here from Classy, so now Mythos knows they can be a little bit more aggressive knowing that Classy does not have the bomb.
Yeah, and now we've got to think of what they're going to be changing for Mythos Gamera, because you've got to be able to deal with this far in the sky, and then Classy being able to, Classy's crew being able to follow up on that damage, and we're already seeing a swap. Dizzy's gone over to match that Diva.
Yeah, and I like it. I mean, I like both the picks right now. You want to be able to match the Diva, but you also want to make sure Swanky has no value in that sky. Pulse Bomb coming out from Icy. Not able to land on anyone here, but Classy can still continue to push this card, mostly for free here.
Yeah, as this point, oh well, there's going to be the barrage coming in. Swanky's not going to find anything. Almost gets taken down by the damage of their own barrage, but the rally comes in. Bob's there as well, and Swanky Sloth's out of the fight here. They are going to be traded back immediately, though, with Water going down as well, but it's just not going to be enough. That Valkyrie was not enough healing to sustain the Bob of Lure.
Icy able to find a couple kills on the way out there, but it will cost them both their own life and Reaper right there on that Mercy. A great kind of regaining fight there for Mythos. They need something to go their way. I like the swap here from Dizzy going over to this Diva. Like I said, it kind of shuts down Swanky, kind of shuts down Icy right there as well, and makes that Diva fight a little interesting here. But now you see Mythos coming in here with 3 ultimates. If they play them fast, they could win another quick team fight here.
Yeah, they definitely could. If they rotate these well, they could just sustain for a little bit longer, but it is just so difficult on this point to hold. We'll see if they can do so with the Nano Boost coming out onto Water already, but just not finding the damage that they were hoping to so far. They still have the Pulse Bomb, they still have the Self-Destruct, but now they've got to be a little bit more careful. Self-Destruct also available from Classy Crew, and that's going to come out as Laura has been found out with a rocket coming in from Swanky Sloth. Water's still available to find this fight with the Pulse Bomb. Self-Destruct's there from Dizzy. Swanky's going to go down, and the Pulse Bomb stick comes through, but it's not going to find anyone. Idona on the Kiriko, able to cleanse it away for the moment. Now the Kitsune Rush on the board. This is the go sign. This has to be where you win it if you are Classy's Kittens, but you lose Idona already in the fight. The trade comes back, though. Rocket's gone. Fungin's down as well, but there's still a chance for Mythos to keep the hold going, but that might be crumbling here and now with the picks keeping going in Classy Kittens' favor as they find Outwater, they find Dizzy's mech, and Dizzy goes down with it, and finally Classy's Kittens are able to take the second point.
Yeah, and you can tell someone on Classy's Kittens is keeping track of ultimates there for Mythos. They got really aggressive once they realized no one on Mythos had anything to throw at them there, and they immediately found value off of here. But now, Classy's Kittens coming to this next fight here with the Pulse Bomb. They're going to have the Barrage Ray at some point, also the Valkyrie, and potentially a bomb. I mean, they are set up good here to potentially have a very quick 0.3 push, but now you see Laura go over to the Cassian set. I like that if you get that Hinder Grenade stick there onto someone like Icy, or even potentially onto Reaper.
Yeah, we'll see how they can go in here with the plays from Classy's Kittens at the moment. But right now, it's still, as well with the swap from Laura, it could help a lot. But hey, well, nice Pulse Bomb coming in, taking Reaper 608 out of the fight. And that should just be enough to really help Mythos Gamera, take this fight already.
Yeah, you do see Icy get the one pulse bomb kill there, but in the end, I mean, it's not really going to amount to anything. That fight was already done and dusted before you threw that one out there. Yeah, you got the kill there on Defunja, but now you put yourself one more ultimate behind. Mythos going to have 3 ready to go. Classy Kittens going to have 3 ready to go as well this fight, so maybe Icy looking at that saying, you know, I could use this here, but I'm watching out here for this barrage, and so is Dizzy. I mean, they're on the D.Va for a reason.
Yeah, as Water comes in with Reaper going down, and again, I think that has to be the first pick every single fight. Pulse self-destruct out from Classy Crew, but it's just not going to find anyone to the rally. Just going to sustain through it all as Lore finds out those last 2.
Yeah, and you saw Swanky there use that barrage, even though Dizzy was so far up trying to get into that backline there, but they found nothing with it. They played it at a corner. Normally that's where you want to play, but everyone for Mythos just kind of backed up behind that corner a little bit further, found no damage, ended up losing their life for it. They're going over to the main now. I do like this. It'll be able to kind of slow down Dizzy a little bit here. And the ice wall, you always have to be worrying about that if you're the enemy team, but the bomb will be thrown here early.
Yeah, self-destruct comes in, but not going to find anything from anyone. There's the nano onto Dizzy already. A nice anti-nade came out from Rocket as well. But there's the Kitsune rush coming in. That extra movement, extra damage, extra shooting speed. Just so good for the attacking squad. And that's just going to be coming through with almost a team kill as Dizzy's now making the swap over to the Junker Queen.
Yeah, they need to change something up there. The D.Va did work for them for a couple fights, going over to the Junk Queen. Now you see the support swap as well. They want to play a little bit faster and have a little bit more reliability when it comes to healing. Now Rocket going over to this BAP is going to be really interesting.
Well, there's the High Noon coming in, and they're going to be able to get the DMAC onto Classy Crew as well. A nice opening for Mythos Gamera to come through and start their hold, and their last hold, really, if they have anything to say about it.
Yeah, the team kill right there, 60 seconds on the clock, as you just heard the in-game announcers say. And you look at the ultimates right now, because of those swaps, Mythos Gamera kind of far away, but Rocket in 1 life, 65%, very good for them. They'll probably have that Ant Matrix ready to go this next fight. But right now, I'm looking at Swanky Sloth here to build up that Blizzard here really quickly, because there's really no one on Mythos Gamera that can stop it, other than that Immortality field that Rocket can throw out, but they need to make sure they get that Blizzard off before Fungin has the beat ready to go.
Yeah, I think this is going to have to be their entry into the point, or as well, they have this rally to get them there, but we'll see how it goes on. They have to touch the point. 20 seconds remaining, and now there's the Blizzard out. They are going to be able to get away, though, it seems. No one going to be caught up by the Blizzard. For the moment, they still have a chance. There's the Ant Matrix out, and Water founds Reaper already. The Kitsune rush from iDonut could be enough to hold on. The trades keep coming out. The self-destruct is there. There's people left on the point, but it's all very shifty for Classy's Kittens. It's only Classy Crew left on the point, and well, they're no longer left any longer thanks to Water. The respawn's trying to get back, but it's just not going to be possible as Mythos Gamera hold on strong on point number 3.
Yeah, great defense there by Mythos at the end of that map, but give Classic Kittens some credit there. They were able to push it that far. Third point of Numbani is incredibly hard to catch here, but I really have to think this far play coming out here from Swanky Sloth really did catch Mythos off guard, even with Lore on this Ashe. Never really found the value they were looking for to shut down the Pharah. It didn't really work out for them until they made some swaps off of that Ashe. Going over to the Cassie worked out a little bit better here, but honestly, Dizzy going over to this Mei here on the second and third point really did help out their team slow down the car a little bit. They took that battle with Classy and shutting down Icy or Swanky Sloth as well. You saw them swap off of that far eventually once they really found no value with it, went over to the Mei instead, and you were hoping that Blizzard was going to find 1 or 2 picks there. It didn't find anything, but you did get some valuable meterage out of that there, and you will always take that here. But now look at Classy Kittens here. I see coming out on this tour, they are definitely expecting that Mythos is going to try to do something like they did, but you don't necessarily see the Mercy yet. Instead, you see the Echo, which I really do like that pick here for them. I think Echo right now is in a little bit of a better spot than the Pharah is.
Yeah, I will say one thing about that Blizzard on last point before we get back into this. I think it was all on the back of Dizzy's commanding shout that no one was able to get in that Blizzard. which is a huge play from them. But we now need to go into their attacking phase, looking to replicate the success of Classy's Kittens before that .3 stop from Mythos Gamera right now as Water. Like you said, on the Echo, see how it works for them. They're going to have to deal with the heat-seeking turret coming in for IC at the moment, but we'll see if it can find any good value. It's Classy Crew still, Classy's Kittens still just holding it out. No one's really going in quite just yet, but Laura in the back line. The dive has come through, but are they going to be able to find a pick? No, Icy's going to find him with the turret gun, taking Laura out of the fight. Now, there's still a chance, though. They've got point presence at the moment, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Is Fungin going to fall down? And it looks like, yeah, Mythos Gamera is going to have to reset.
And Classic Kittens played that perfectly there. They saw Mythos was not going to go up on that high ground opposite of where they all are right now. And they all grouped together right there. Swanky Sloth being over there is such a huge thing for them. Right now, Swanky Sloth's goal needs to be Bubble Popper when they see Dizzy make that dive up there. But Dizzy did try to make that dive up there. Instead, though, it was Reaper with a nice whip shot to make sure they did not pressure that high ground at all. If you're Mythos now, you're looking for that entry onto the high ground. It has to be Dizzy here, but you're trying to maybe find Water as well, who is very close to a duplicate.
Now we'll see as a lot of people are low on Classy's Kittens, and Water comes through with a focusing beam of death coming through, just helping them take point presence now. There's still a chance, though. Classy's Kittens have some players on the point, but a nice anti-nade really just shuts the door on any recontest as Mythos Gamera come in with a pretty substantial time, like about the same, probably about 20 seconds less than Classy's Kittens had.
Yeah, 20 seconds less. That's really because once Mythos noticed they were losing that fight there, they backed out. They only lost 1 or 2 members there. And Water starting to get off perfectly, find the 2 picks they really needed. They're getting rid of Rocket. Getting rid of iDonut and Swanky, who immediately goes over to the May now. I want to see how this May will work, but a huge anti-nade.
A huge anti-nade indeed, but iDonut's going to be the one to go down. As now they have popped the Primal Rage and forced back Classy's Kittens again as Reaper falls down. Rocket, the bloodthirsty support continuing for Mythos Gamera, finding them out. Water is going to pay with their life, but a lot of people are still so low on the side of Classy's Kittens. They are trying to push back, but they are able to with the slight regroup by Mythos Gamera.
Yeah, and again, now you're just seeing them try to get the He-Mech Classy as they get the Nano.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Classy's Kittens right now. That's pretty much wasted 2 ultimates in that fight, trying to keep Classy Crew up and healthy, but it's just not possible. Now with the rally coming in from Fungin, now's the duplicate onto the Ana as well from Water. They are just going to look to build up to that nano boost. Can they do so in time? Probably not, but they don't really need it because the rest of Mythos are able to find the picks necessary and take point number 2.
Yeah, getting rid of Class here. I guess see Icy just try to stall out this card a little bit more here. Try to just wane that clock down here. Eventually they will lose their life there, but now 4 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock here for Mythos Gaming. A much bigger time bank than what Classy Kittens had, but I mean, this 3rd point still very difficult to get through. 2 great choke points, but I mean, remember, if you're Mythos, you have a win condition here. You don't have to complete the map. All you have to do is get 70 meters, and you're coming up on 3 ultimates. Classic has 4 ultimates coming up in this fight as well, but you saw what happened last fight. They used 2 ultimates for really no avail.
Yeah, as they're going to pop the, no Blizzard coming in. The Nano Boost is going to be coming in from Rocket, though, onto Water, as they are going to find trades at the moment, and iDonut's out of the fight, as Swanky Sloth's going to go down as well, as Fungin with a shield bash coming through, and while Water still doing work, taking Classy Crew out, and now looking to take out the Baby Diva as well. There's still a chance they stay alive, but they're fighting it out. They've got the Primal Rage available as well, but they might not need it as another anti-nade comes in from Rocket. Yeah, again, holding things strong for Mythos Gamera. They've got the Blizzard on the point. Nano Boost onto Swanky Sloth as well, though. Primal Rage is going to come out, and they're going to be focused down immediately with a Tactical Visor coming through as well. Still, there's a hold coming in. Classy's Kittens have the opportunity with a rally on the point. They just got to sustain through the damage, but Water is going to be able to duplicate over to the Ana yet again. Sleep Dart's out, and Nade comes through, and Dizzy's found 2, and that's all she wrote with just waiting Slanky Sloth, but a flail away from the point, holding it strong. Mythos Gamera takes the map.
Yeah, and honestly, the one thing I kind of wanted to see there from Classic Kittens at the end, after that second point cap, they needed to make some swaps there. But I highlighted it going into that first fight there. They had 3-4 ultimates coming online, but they were never really able to get them off because of how fast and how aggressive Mythos Gamera was really playing there. They shut down Classic Kittens completely on that third point, unlike how Mythos Gamera shut down Classic Kittens on their own attack right there. But again, both these two teams putting up fights, but it always seems like Mythos Gamera is able to kind of learn from the fights they lose, come back in that next fight, and are able to slow down Classic Kittens here. We just haven't necessarily seen that yet from the Kittens.
Yeah, and I want to also just put a spotlight on Rocket right now. We keep seeing it in these replays. Those anti-nades that came through onto the opposition time and time again, setting their team up for success, whether it be with those anti-nades, whether it would be with a sleep dart, whether it be with a nano boost. This is kind of turning into a support diff coming in from Mythos Gamera right now.
Yeah, we've talked about Laura, Water, and Dizzy so much here. Rocket and Fungin. I mean, I sometimes say when you don't talk about the supports, it means they're doing their job and they're doing it well. You normally really ever talk about the supports when they're not doing their job or they are the stars of the show right now. But right now, these two supports for Mythos Gamera, Rocket and Fungin, are just able to do everything they need to do to help their team out, that it's allowing Laura, Water, and Dizzy just to fill up that kill feed with their name.
We are going to head to a short little break here, everyone. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss the conclusion of this series right after this short little break. All right, everyone, it is time for map number 3 here. And, well, we're headed to one of the newer maps in the game, obviously. But, again, the only 2 points we have for this Flashpoint match, which, again, you think with the huge update we had for Season 9, you would have gotten this new maps for, you know, Push and Flashpoint. But you know what? You know, that's neither here nor there. Dex. We've got some swaps coming in actually for the classy Kittens. We've got Slitherus and Closed Casket coming in for the DPS line now. Trying to make some difference. Gotta try for that reverse sweep. Anything. You've just got to throw it at the wall and hope it sticks right now.
Yeah, I mean, Slitherus is coming in for Icy, who did do pretty solidly on the first 2 maps. Close Casket's coming in for Swanky Sloth, who, in my opinion, came out of the gate on fire, but was quickly kind of extinguished there by Mythos Gamera. Was never able to find that, you know, that same pace they were with that Pharah once they got off of it, but they made the right swaps there towards the end, just not able to find the same value. But I mean, right now you're looking at a team with their back up against the wall, nothing really to lose here other than the series. So they just want to try something out here. Maybe this is the DPS lineup that's finally going to be able to shut down that tank and DPS line of Mythos Gamera that we have been talking a lot about.
Yeah, we really have been. I mean, and for good reasons. I mean, they've been on fire this entire series so far. And again, not just that, Rocket and Fungin when they're needed, and Rocket more often than not setting these fights up for Mythos Gamera. As now we head into Suravasa in a few short moments here to see, is Mythos Gamera going to be able to finish it out, or is this the start of the reverse sweep for Classy's Kittens?
And with it being Flashpoint, I mean, you have to remember, point captures a lot quicker. The percentage goes up a lot faster. 1 or 2 team fights here, if a team captures it and it has a long fight, might be all you need here. So if you're Classy Kittens, you're looking at this saying, okay, all we really need to do is win 2 team fights, and we probably have a point our way here. This first central point, though, is so key. And you see Mythos bringing back out the ball here. Lore and Water and everyone else, I imagine, are going to be swapping up here at some point, just because I just don't necessarily think that's a viable comp here. But you look at Classy Kittens, they have not necessarily teased us all series long. This is probably going to be what they run out with here. The Moira pick here from Reaper, I really do like it. They want to have a little bit more of a damage dealing deep or support, and the Moira is definitely that. Slitherus and Closed Casket coming out on that Reaper Sojourn comp or duo, I do like it. It allows someone to be up close and personal while someone to be medium to far distance away that can still do a lot of damage. But right now, they have to be able to shut down Dizzy on this Ramatra.
Yeah, Ramatra, again, we talked about it being probably the best spot for a tank at the moment. They're going to be going in with the pummels, are getting a lot of damage already done coming in. Closed Casket's already out of the fight. They've got a chance, though. There's still an opportunity to come back, but with so many people low, and the Nemesis form procced yet again for Dizzy, and that's just going to be enough. Already built up to the annihilation here, Dex, as that is going to be a fight win done.
One fight, and it just shows you how much damage they were able to do. They're going those Nemesis forms, just throwing haymakers left and right, finding so much damage. Not necessarily finding all the kills there, as their DPS were right there picking up some of those. But again, this annihilation this early on, when Classy Kittens really has nothing other than a Coalescence at some points, they're popping it now, looking for blood.
Yeah, as the annihilation is just going to do all the damage necessary. The follow-ups there from the rest of Mythos Gamera, as that should get them up to, well, it is going to get them up to 50%, but it also might get them to the first point.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Classy Kittens here. They're coming up on this Coalescence. It's the only thing they have. Mythos Gamera, they can immediately pop down this Amp Matrix and try to slow down Classy Kittens here a little bit if they want to, but it looks like Classy Kittens are going to try to go around a different way here. They want to try to get the point here first, take that pressure, take that space, but looks like Mythos Gamera notices it.
Well, there's going to be the teleport onto the point from Slither. just blown up is Classy Crew already as Rocket finds that pick. There's the Coalescence, though, from Reaper, sustaining on the point for the moment. But you need to find a pick, and you need to find it quickly. It's Rocket's Immortality Field no longer there. Still, they are going to get the point flipped over. Blizzard comes out from water, though, to probably finish things out. Yeah, with Dizzy and Laura combining for 3. It's just Classy Crew left, and, well, Laura is going to take care of that one. It's the overtime bar going to tick away. Point number 1 goes to Mythos Gamera.
Yeah, but honestly, if you're Classy Kitten, you're perfectly fine with losing that fight there and the point. I mean, look at what Mythos Gamera had to use there. They used the visor. They used a blizzard. I mean, they're coming up on a really only one ultimate right now with that beat. Laura going over to this Widowmaker is a very interesting pick here. Classy Kittens, though, going to have 4 ultimates ready to go. This should be a fight that they win.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say Suravas is really known for the long sightlines, but we'll see how it works for Laura in the end. As the rotation going to be there, Reaper very low. The dive into the back though, and well, Laura's gonna go down, but it's traded out immediately. So Reaper is already gone as well with the sound barrier now. The rotation back from Classy's Kittens, allowing them to get to the point, but they've lost close Classy as well, and Idonut very quickly, not far behind. Primal Rage from Classy Crew, but they're just walking into that Annihilation. Has to jump away. Going down is Slither, and the point going to Mythos yet again. So they're still looking for blood, looking for these kills. People are so low. Reaper gonna be able to stay alive as they're gonna rotate back to the point.
And everything about that fight was backwards. IUPUI came in with 4 ultimates. You immediately think they're going to win the fight here off those ultimates. You don't necessarily see the kills come from them there. And Mythos able to win it using only 2 ultimates of their own there as well.
Oh, as Laura finds the shot. True, another one. Classy Crew goes down to the shots of the Widowmaker. Amp Matrix there as well to really just sustain and get them up to this last fight territory.
And now you're starting to see Classy Kittens make some swaps here. Classy going over to that Queen, then immediately over to the Ramadra here. They need to figure out something here. It looks like they're still questioning a little bit as they go over to the Orisa now. At this point, I mean, Classy Kittens, it looks like they might just be giving up this second point here, hoping that the third point is a much more favorable for them to get to the point here first. Actually, it looks like they're going to make one last-ditch effort to get in there. They just need to be able to get the touch.
You've got to try something. Coalescence is out as they're going to be able to find Dizzy out already, but the Blizzard is massive. The trades keep coming through. Laura's going to be able to find these shots true, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. There's just too many people gone from the point, but maybe not. Fungens found Classy Crew as well, but it's just a Lucio. It's just a Widowmaker left. The point is going to go over to Classy's Kittens for the time being.
Yeah, and right now, Mythos Gamera is going to be coming back here incredibly quick. Laura's still hanging around. You don't want to get caught out before the fight even starts, because that just put Mythos Gamera in such a much better spot. But now, everyone for Classic Kittens starting to come back. Getting rid of Laura is a huge opening pick here for them. Close Casco going to have this overclock ready to go this fight. They need to be able to find a couple picks with it.
Yeah, as now the play is going to come in. Reaper so low, going to go down. The Annihilation built up by Dizzy, and that's just going to be probably all she wrote for this second point of Suravasa with all the picks going blue as Mythos taking that second point.
Dizzy just making Classy Kittens head spin here at the moment. Backs are against the wall for them now. Have to reverse sweep this map just to hope they can reverse sweep the series. They do have the much more favorable spawns for this third and potentially final point of this map here. You do have Close Cash having that overclock ready to go. Really the only one with an ultimate here in the early part of the fight. Donut and Rocket will be able to build to their 2 ultimates in the mid fight, but you were looking for Close Casket to find something here early.
Yeah, definitely. You got a good chance for Classy's Kittens to hold on to this, especially taking Laura down as well. They've got this. They're going to have the Classy Crew's Terra Surge as well, and they might not even need it. The sound barrier is all that's going to be necessary to sustain through the Amp Matrix of Rocket. And, well, Classy's Kittens starting off on a new foot, taking the point first.
Yeah, but I think at the end of that fight, Idonut might have want that beat back there because of how aggressive the rest of Classy's Kittens were, especially Classy there. They got everyone away from that Amp Matrix there. Really, there was no one there that used it at all, so the beat came out there to keep everyone alive and win that fight easily, but they could have held on to it here for a little bit. But now, Classy Kittens, 4 ultimates in their back pockets here. Mythos Gaming will have a Blizzard and a beat, so they do have some ultimates here that are definitely scary to the Kittens.
Yeah, definitely, but Pulse Bomb's out already. Terra Surge coming through as well. Not going to be able to find anyone, and Reaper's the one to go down first, even though that a culmination of ultimates did not find anything. Mythos is just the one coming out on top, not needing anything to invest.
Water picking up a couple kills here, picking up the final kill as well. If there's one thing in this universe that will always win in the end, it is the power of water. Finding the final 3 kills there, giving Mythos Gaming the point here for the first time, and now Mythos in a much better spot than what IUPUI is right now. They're gonna come up on 3 ultimates, and Rocket and Lore, they've been able to build those ultimates incredibly quickly here. Reaper and its Coalescence is gonna need to find a lot of value here, but you're gonna be pressured up by a lot of stuff here from Mythos.
As now rotations come in, Reaper has this Coalescence available. The Blizzards come out already. No one's going to be found out, but the Annihilation comes through, as that should just be enough. Maybe not with Rocket going down, but no, the picks keep going the way of blue as Mythos keeps on trudging.
Oh, and Fungin maybe getting the best kill in that fight there, not necessarily getting noticed. They booped Reaper off the map once they popped that Coalescence. The only ultimate the Kittens had there, get dead and gone. They have nothing else on the board right now. Slitherus, though, will be able to build up to a Pulse Bomb here, but again, you're looking at who necessarily to stick it on. There's so much utility on the side of Mythos Gaming here that it won't necessarily find a lot of value.
Amp Matrix comes in as well now, as Slitherus gets taken down early on. The overclock comes through from Lore, finding 4, give him the 5-piece. No, Rocket is a little greedy there in the end. That's gonna do it. Mythos Gamera takes the map and the series in a 3-0 fashion.
And honestly, this doesn't surprise me. This Mythos team, as they talked about on the desk, is a team that has been around CGL for a while. A very well-rounded, coordinated team. Former champions are on this team here. I expect them to be one of the scarier teams in this tier here. Classic Kittens, though, I mean, they are now 4-1 on the season. They still have a lot to look forward to right now. They just went up against a very, very tough team here in week 2, and it definitely seemed like in those first couple maps, especially this first point here, they went up against the comp they probably had not necessarily practiced against. A ball comp, like you kind of mentioned, we don't see the ball at all. Dizzy played it to perfection, found a lot of value out early, but just at the end of the day, Mythos Gamera, when you watch them play, when you watch them in team fights, if they were losing a team fight, they didn't necessarily try to keep themselves in the fight too long. They try to get out as fast as they can so they can re-engage a lot faster. That always is what made them, or always was a factor into them coming back and winning these fights very quickly. IUPUI, though, I mean, talked about throughout the night, they were able to win fights at points. They weren't able to win fights consistently, and that was what we saw on the last map here of Sarabasa. They were able to win fights, not able to win consistently there. And just in the end, Mythos Gamera able just to find out the weaknesses there on Classic Kittens and go up 2-0 in the season.
I'm really interested to see what the desk is going to choose as their MVPs of the match here, Dex. There's just so many people on Mythos Gamera. The entire team really could realistically have a case made for them to be the MVP of the match. And thankfully, we're not on the desk to have to make the decision. But I'll be avidly listening to see what who they decide here. Going in for that. But, I mean, it was just a great all-around performance from Mythos Gamera. They were able to play their game and are able to, you know, really showcase that they are a very good team, like you were saying. And just all around has good comms clearly because, I mean, they stuck together and stuck through everything that Classy's Kittens really threw at them throughout this entire series.
Yeah, I do not envy the desk either. I mean, we talked about each and every individual line there, the DPS line, the tank line, and the support duo there to length here. I mean, they all popped off here. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm not going to say who I necessarily would give MVP to here. But yeah, I mean, this Mythos Gamera team is definitely a team you're going to want to watch out for here in the GM tier. I do believe they have a great chance to make a decently long run in the final playoffs here. But there's still a lot of time before that here and still a lot of games to be played.
Yeah, there definitely is. And, well, I think we are about finished here. It looks like our desks are ready to come back on screen. Thank you all for watching. It's been me and Dexatron sending it over back to the desk to talk about the match.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for that. Of course, Dexatron and Joker's Ransom, who just took us through an amazing series in an expert way. We really do appreciate the casting. And to talk about what you guys are saying about the MVP, well, was a lot of deliberation amongst us. We're not going to get into it just yet because I want to dissect the game that we just saw, but know that the MVP that we do have is definitely something that you want to stick around and see for. But like I said, we do need to talk about the game that just transpired in front of us, a clean 3-0 sweep in favor of Mythos Gamera. I'm not going to brag or anything, but that's my prediction. Head rammer, right? It was a crazy series.
Oh, absolutely, and I want to give you a nod to your prediction as well. I also agree that Mythos was going to win that series. I mean, it really just felt like they had the game plan right from the beginning. It seemed like they had an answer to every single thing that Classy Kittens wanted to do. They were competent on the ball comp. They were competent on Winston. They even just threw a random Widowmaker there towards the end. I don't know how they made it work, but they somehow managed to. It seemed like they just knew what to do in every situation.
Yeah, and being able to have that kind of knowledge and that kind of adaptability as well from Mythos Gamera helped them out in so many situations, right? We saw a lot of different looks from this team. Wrecking Ball, Winston, Diva. I mean, it felt like it was just continuously changing things up and continuously working, Billy.
I think that for me, I think that their adaptability in response to what IUPUI was trying to throw out to them is what really changes the dynamic of this entire series. I mean, throwing that some highly mechanical god plays from some of these players. I think the best look that we saw from IUPUI was on Numbani. They really had a good start there. But then when it came time to make counter swaps, I think that they were kind of stuck into a Moira. They were stuck into this pharmacy combo for way too long. The lack of mobility, once again, kind of threw them under the bus as well. So for me, I mean, Mythos Gamera come out, their synergy wins the day. I have to agree with Headrammer. Called it off the bat. Having that sustained synergy really did play into their overwhelming success here up against Classy Kittens.
I'm really glad you're bringing up, though, some of the good points about Classy Kittens and some of the strengths that we did have out of them. I mean, Ray, this is still a team, right? We're only in week 2. They still have a lot of room to be able to improve and to work and find themselves in this patch.
Yeah, again, the patch just came out, and again, we talked about how this team, some of them have kind of played together on different rosters. They've been playing on rosters for a while, but this specific roster has just formed and came together. So throughout this season, they're gonna figure it out. I mean, the key is going to be quickly. They're gonna have to figure it out because, like we mentioned, it's 2 stages with 4 games in it. So it's not like you can afford to give up too many games going forward. But this will be a nice learning lesson for them going forward. And I can't wait to see how they improve as the season develops.
This was actually their first match played all season. Their first match was a forfeit win. This is the first match they got to play in general with us.
So that's just something, the extra layers that are being added on top, right? The more of the storyline that's starting to formulate here in front of us, and it's just these little things that when you think about it and what you are going to be able to get as the seasons progress, or the season progresses, is something that I know we are all very, very excited for. I do want to take one more look at the map history, though, just to get an idea of how things went. And even though for Mythos Gamera you see 2-0 on map number 1, you see 3-0 on Suravasa, and then 3-2 for Numbani. Billy, I feel like it doesn't really relay the whole story of the struggle that they did in order to get some of these maps.
Right. I mean, there were some, especially in the tank position. We saw the tank kind of roulette happen. And I think for Mythos Gamera, the fact that they brought out something that could mitigate a lot of damage is why they did so well in Numbani. So I think moving forward for them, kind of lean into that. They look good, a little bit better with the Arista comp when they brought that up. into the Ramatra, I still think that you need to mirror it. Personally, if you're going to see a Ram on the field, bring out your own, get the same kind of cooldowns, because Rissa, once all her stuff is gone, just a very big, easy old magnet for the rest of the opposing team. So I think for IUPUI, I mean, this is their first time competing here in CGL with us. So we'll see if they're able to, kind of put the pieces together. Like I said, it's a tale of two stages. We got first stage, we've got a mid-season tournament, then we got stage 2, and then the playoffs. So, I mean, there's still plenty of time, but it's not as much time as you think. We're looking, probably April, as when we'll see April, May, as when we'll see the continuation of the season. So there's time to get the synergy built up. There's time to really lead into this new patch. And I think that may have also been an issue here for IUPUI, that they didn't understand the ramifications of what happened when the patch went live, because they seemed like they were just maybe like a half step behind throughout the entirety of the series. So, good on Mythos Gamera for really latching on to it and milking it for all it's worth.
Hey, you know what? That's the exciting thing about these kind of tournaments, these style of tournaments, is being able to watch the improvements as they go on. But there was one player tonight who I think really stood out to all of us here on the desk. The casters were talking about it, though. It did take us a little while to get there, and they were right. It wasn't an enviable position to be in, to try and pick someone to talk about who was really just showing off in spectacular ways. But we eventually did reach it, Ray, and we eventually did crown our MVP for tonight, that being Rocket themselves.
Yeah, Rocket was just a big playmaker. And the plays they were making, not always seen on the screen in an obvious form, like Laura on the Widow hitting a bunch of headshots. We saw, obviously the big one we saw on the cast was the sleep onto the Junker Queen who had rampaged them. But time and time again, like we're back here watching, and Billy's like, that immortality field. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that just saved the entirety of that fight for them. There are plenty of times where I'm like, Dizzy's about to go down here, and out comes that shining light of an immortality field. And if their tank would have gone down there, they were not going to win that fight. And then again, coming through time and time again with all that damage, we watched them melt the Winston with their amp matrices time and time again. They just all around played so well on a variety of support characters.
And Billy, I mean, you were the one who championed the cause for Rocket. You were the one who pushed forward the name. You were a little away from your mic, and we were just hearing Rocket. And I was like, oh boy. You can tell the passion coming off of Billy to get this person crowned MVP.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at, Numbani was especially pivotal for me. We saw them start out with Iana. We saw some great nano engages. We saw great uses of nano to keep Dizzy up. But then when they swapped over to the Baptiste in their defensive third, that amp matrix solidified at that point for me. They were the MVP of the match. So I may have gotten my pred completely wrong, but I got this prediction for the MVP correct. So I am even on the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, of course, Billy. Now, Headrammer, I do want to touch, though, that this was a very difficult decision. This was not easy to come to, and some of the other players that we were looking at were either going to be Water, or it was going to be Dizzy, the DPS player and the tank player, respectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's be honest. While Rocket's our MVP, all players of this team were popping off on all cylinders. Dizzy, I think one of the reasons why the team was able to counterpick so much in general and play all these different comps was due to the flexibility of Dizzy on all these tanks. It's so common to see a tank player that is going to pigeonhole into like a role that they can't really swip around to. But I mean, between the Winston, the Ram, the Ball, they were doing it all, honestly. I mean, we saw how fast they built their ultimate on Saravasa there. They had it essentially first fight and just pummeling him in that corner. No, very impressive. Did not die very often. Very proud of that. And then Water, I mean, it felt like the first map or two was like the Water show, honestly. They were getting so many picks on the Tracer, swapped over to Echo, and we're doing just as good. Impressive all around.
Yeah, it just goes to show you what this team is working with and how powerful they are. And I know that we're ready to see what they're going to be able to accomplish throughout the rest of the season. So a big congratulations to Mythos Gamera for taking the win tonight here in week 2 of the NAGM CGL Friday Night Overwatch night. So I think we're about to close things out, but of course, I do want to get some final closing thoughts, starting with you, Ray.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everyone involved, casting, production, everyone watching. We've gotten a lot of good engagement with this announcement, and it's been awesome to revitalize this. And the other thing I want to say for anyone watching, for you teams out there, we want to cast your games, especially on FNO. So make sure you try. I mean, if you want us to cast them, get it into those time slots, EU and NA. It's always going to be at 8 p.m. EST for NA and 8 p.m. UK time, whether that's, GMT or when they do their time swap. But I mean, we're willing and ready to cast any division's big time games.
Get them scheduled early on the site.
Yeah. Hey, Headrammer, right? Get in on that right now. He's looking at you. And if you have any questions, make sure you look at the questions tab
I
before.
want to say I'm part of that
Headrammer.
3 down there. Just proud to be part of that 3.
I'm also part of that 3 down there.
I'm 1 for 1. I'm 1 for 1 today, so I'm okay with that. I'm very happy. I was really wrong on one end and really right on the other end. It's just spectrums. Billy, final thoughts, my friend.
I mean, we're back. And I mean, this is a great showcase of what CGL is. And, we're going to build the stories throughout the season. We're going to bring all the action to every one of you. But like Sam said, like Headrammer said, please get your games in. We want to cast you. We want to do double headers. That is the end goal, is not only to showcase, the best of the best, but also to let us know who these players are. That's the big thing, is that I want to tell these stories of these players that make our league so damn good. But we can't do that unless you guys are on the cast with us. So make sure that you are signing up there. Make sure that you are retweeting stuff out there from CGL as well, because all the engagement will absolutely amplify us into the future.
Absolutely.
Just to
Go ahead.
piggy on that a little bit, like when you mentioned double headers, our first game's at 8 p.m. EST, for example, for NA. If there was another game, say at 10 or something, I would have loved to do a second game. So just make sure you guys are all scheduling your games. Get it out there early, as Headrammer mentioned.
There you go. Chat, we've given you a mission. Players, we've given you the mission as well, and a very important one at that. We're about to step into a whole new era of Overwatch esports. We want to get your name out there. We want to show you off. So please, 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 please go do what we asked, and we'll be very happy. You'll be very happy. But that is going to be it for us for tonight. I do want to say one more thing. If you are watching, if you have enjoyed tonight, definitely make sure to hit that follow button so that way you get notifications to when we go live. Because just that we're having Friday Night Overwatch does not mean that we're not having more games over the weekend. We're going to try and do one NA game, one EU game, Saturday and Sunday. And of course, don't forget, Friday Night Overwatch isn't just a 1 week thing. It's not just a one-off thing. We're going to be back again next week, the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that, for the whole season. So make sure you follow, because again, it is going to be EU and NA. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. So make sure you hit that follow button. And from myself, Sam Talks, to Tryhard Ray, Chef Billy, Headrammer the Desk, and I want to say a big thank you to our casters, Dexatron, Joker's Ransom, our producer Hippie, of course, our amazing observer, Rhino Vod, for all of their hard work tonight. We will see all of you on the next broadcast.